About 2.5 years ago, I had the opportunity to be a crash test dummy. And I'm not talking for Halloween. I was hit by an unlicensed driver who ran a red light at 55 miles an hour, scored a direct hit in my driver's side door. I sustained extensive physical and neurological injuries. Regarding the physical injuries, the only thing I have to say is that I have comprehensive knowledge of function and biomechanics of everything from the waist down. I'll never be wearing heels again in my life. What I would like to talk about a little bit more tonight is neurological problems that I ended up with. I ended up with something called a traumatic brain injury. And the path to diagnosis for this was many doctors long, and the final doctor that I ended up with was a brain trauma specialist. We're having a conversation, and I'm telling him, you know, I'm really frustrated, I slur my speech, I'm having trouble thinking, I've got like a spoken dyslexia, and I have these temper tantrums like a 2-year-old. I'm just angry, and and he goes, well, what are you doing about your temper tantrums? And I said, well, I'm cutting. And he said, oh. He said, well, why are you cutting? And I said, well, I'm cutting for everyone else's safety. And the whole tenor of the conversation changed after that. He walked out of the room, and in short order, I looked outside of the window, and 2 cop cars showed up in the parking lot. His path to therapy was something called a mental health arrest. And I can admit to a measure of obstreperousness around uniformed authority figures when I was younger. However, what walked into the room with me were the biggest cops that I have ever seen in my life. I didn't even know they made cops this big. I looked up, and I'm like, there's no way that I'm even going to be a tiny asshole to these guys. They can crumple me up like a piece of paper and throw me against the wall. So we had a conversation, and I agreed not to take a swing at them with my walker, and they agreed not to handcuff me. And so I took a ride to St. Mary's, and I ended up in the psych unit. Eventually, after about 6 hours, they send a psychologist in, and she's got a little clipboard, and she's, tell me about your relationship with your parents, tell me about this, tell me about that. How happy are you? How contented are you? And I said, well, let me see if I can quantify this for you. I've lost 60% of my hair. I went from being female Steve Irwin with a healthy $50,000 a year business to shopping the adult diaper aisle at Walmart in a Crip cart. I'm angry at everybody all the time. I have Celino and Barnes are basically ass fucking me without even stroking my head. So I'll start at -3, and if I need to work backwards from there, I'll let you know. So she did me a big favor. She deemed me sane, and what happened is they dumped me out on the corner of Genesee and West Main Streets at about 11:30 at night with no ride. But I was out. I wasn't in the psych ward anymore. And at that point, I realized my path to recovery was going to be my own. I was going to have to find my way. So I started with YouTube, and I watched people that I was confident that were stupider than me riding skateboards off of roofs onto exercise balls. And I laughed out loud. For hours I'd watch YouTube and do that. I rediscovered the library. I read 4 or 5 books a week. I read out loud to myself all the time, to the walls I read out loud. When I get frustrated, when I have a hard day now, I cook. I cook a lot every once in a while, but I'm a good cook, and people who I respect as cooks tell me that they like my cooking and they ask for my recipes, so that's a good thing. I am a standing testament to the power of herbology. Unlike Western medicine, they don't want you to think this, but herbology works, diet and exercise work. I am a faithful acupuncturist patient. Everybody hug your acupuncturist, because the reason why I can think coherently, speak in cohesive sentences, and have orgasms is because of my So distance, to me, what distance means is how far I've come and how far I have to go. Thank you very much.